Yo! What's up, everybody? How we doing? I hope you're all doing okay. This is unconventional, I know. What's up and welcome, foolish mortals, to my birthday live stream. It's my birthday and I'm 50 something ish, I think. Hello everyone, how are you all doing? Just a quick sound check as usual. I just wanted to make sure that don't have any hair in my mouth, which I do. Lovely. Great start, Gem. And yeah, just wanted to make sure the sound is okay. Can you guys hear a bit of background music so you're not just subjected to my voice and my face for the majority of this stream? It's not going to be a particularly long one, and I don't necessarily have a plan other than I just wanted to come in and have a chill, comfortable, wholesome stream surrounded by like-minded people who like me, kinda. Some of you do, and you like what I do. There's been a lot of love on the channel recently, and a lot of love for Little Nightmares, especially since the release of the Secrets of the Spiral DLC, the backstage, and now I am super duper stoked for the follow-up that's coming, hopefully in like around October time, so that we'll get a nice spoopy month release, which would be good. But let me just say hello to a few people that have been kind enough to stop in and spend their random Tuesday with me. Hello, Reanimal Girl, how are you? Mochi Kitty, what's up? Chaos Doctor, how's it going, brother? It's good to see you. Ooh, Ratchet, how many times a year does he have his birthday? Just the one that I can remember. But I think what you might mean though is I've celebrated a couple of birthday events, but not my birthday. It's been like Six's birthday, for instance, or like Little Nightmares anniversaries and things like that. But this today, right now, is actually my birthday. Today is my birthday, not Little Nightmares' birthday, not Tazia's birthday, not Bandai's birthday, not Six's birthday. It's my birthday today. So this is the one. If I tell you, if you hear that it's my birthday on any other day, you're being lied to. You're being lied and deceived. What do you think he's mainly going to discuss? I don't have a plan, Doctor. I do not have a plan. I don't come in here with expectations. I just pop in and fire up the camera and I see what happens. We could do a couple of things. We could watch some videos. We could go through F Vortex's cutting room floor if you wanted to today. It really depends on the turnout, because like I say, this is unconventional. I don't normally stream during the week because a lot of my audience don't have time to stop in during the week. Which is why I normally focus it on weekends where people aren't doing too much. It gives them a chance to finish work, finish school, finish college or university, you know, take a day off or whatever. And I tend to do it later in the evening, at least as far as my time frame goes here in the United Kingdom, because here in England, in the UK, it is currently 5 minutes past 7. Iris Moth, hey Jem, sorry can't stay today, wanted to pop in and wish happy birthday. Thank you so much, Iris Moth. I really appreciate you stopping in, saying hi and dropping me a little happy birthday. It's very much appreciated. What's up, Lefty Bear? We got members in the building as well. Happy birthday to our glorious leader. Thank you, Lefty. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you, man. What's up, Stinkles? Will the Jiggler be in the Secrets of the Spiral, Electric and Boogaloo? Maybe. Maybe, who knows? What's up, Abyss? How's it going? Called it. Greetings, little ones. Greetings to you, Gaius. How you doing, Puppet Master? Fire fun time. It's been a long time. A long fun time indeed. How are you, bro? It's good to see you in the chat. How is it? How goes it? Tell me how goes it. Gemini, you're older than my dad. Trust me, I'm way older than you think. I'm probably older than... I'm older than a lot of your dads. I'm older than a lot of your granddads. What's up, crazy YouTuber? How's it going? Dr. Nightmare is in the building. We got some legends up in the chat today. Happy birthday to the Nowhere. We'll be giving you lots of cake and grotesque presents. I hope you have a good stream, and I'll be playing the LNC. Ooh, I hope you enjoy yourself. And yes, I did get a cake, and I did get a wonderful present. I got a present off my parents. Look what my mum and dad got for me. They got me a sick shirt. Look at this. How cool is that? I don't know how good I don't know if the camera does it justice, but I really like this. I was stoked when I seen it. I didn't even know this existed. So yeah, thank you to my mum and dad, who might very well be watching as well. I even took a picture with my mum earlier on while I was wearing it. She's very small. Ah, yes. Let me see. I have to leave soon because of the orthodontist appointment. Oh dear. Well, I really appreciate you stopping in and saying hello a bit, and thank you for the happy birthday. I very much appreciate it. And I hope your orthodontist appointment goes well as well. Hopefully your orthodontist is outside of the Nowhere and not one of these pseudo-humanoid paranormals that we have to deal with from the Pale City. Glad you're doing well, Reanimal Girl. What's up, Yuki? Thank you so much. Yukino Merodi. I hope I'm saying your name properly. I apologise if I'm not. Happy birthday, Ed Sheeran's brother. Are you in love with the shape of me, Ratchet? Is that what it is? Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you. Random 17374. Thank you. Surely we get a diver for the second Little Nightmares 3 DLC. You know what? That would actually be dope. Crazy YouTuber, that would be pretty sick. I know that a channel did do that. GamerJube did it. GamerJube is no longer a thing. For some reason, YouTube randomly demonetized GamerJube, and I have no idea why. I don't think they do either. But the face of GamerJube and the main artist of it, Nick, has a new channel called NickJube. And I haven't seen him do anything Little Nightmares related. I think he's been more focused on like Poppy Playtime and Five Nights at Freddy's and that kind of content recently. I'm hoping that he will be inspired to do a bit more like Little Nightmares stuff, like what should be in Little Nightmares 4, because his the series that led me to his channel was actually what should be in Little Nightmares 3, and he did this way before there was ever even an announcement of Little Nightmares 3, and he created the diver that was a recurring character in several episodes. It was really good, really cool concept. You finished high school, good. I don't remember a time I was happier than when I finished school. The freedom for that short period between going to school and then having to get a job. There was like a period of I don't have to do anything, and it was like my first ever, it was the first ever experience of retirement. I was like, this is what it feels like to be old when I left school. Thank you, Landbander. Thank you, Fulcrum. What's up, Fulcrum? How are you doing? Welcome back. Best part of Gemini is that he actually reads the comments. It's one of the benefits to not having too many people. Yeah, exactly. This is the thing, is there is plenty of you here for me, and I love that. But I also like the fact that I can keep up and I'm able to recognize you guys. You know, like the people that are here regularly. Like if you guys haven't seen me before, by the way, hello and welcome. I do try and read as many comments as I can during my streams, and I try to interact and be engaging as much as possible. It's a little bit difficult sometimes because the chat can go quite quickly, and I do miss comments. And I don't want anyone to feel left out, because that sucks, especially when it's like, oh, he's reading everyone else's comment, but he didn't read mine. Why? Sometimes it just doesn't show up on my screen. I know this because I re-watch my streams and go through and make sure that everything was like up to standard. And sometimes I'll like drop myself little reminders during the stream as well, just to be like, you know, hey, future Gem, you need to check out this person's channel. Or, you know, I'll have things recommended to me, or I'll have links sent to me and things like that I need to go back and just sort of like moderate, as it were. But yeah, thank you for the recognition, Chaos Doctor. I appreciate that very much. And I'm glad that my efforts aren't unrecognised. What's up, Feline? Can't stay very long, but happy birthday. Hey, that's okay. Like I say, I'm not expecting anybody to stick around all day. I'm not even going to be here that long myself. I'm going to spend tonight chilling and relaxing. That's all I want to do. I'm old. I like to just relax and lay back and not do very much of anything. So there isn't necessarily a plan to, sit here and do lots of exciting things. I just wanted to engage with some people and have some positive conversations and that. When I go live and I get to engage with you guys, it fills me with like positive energy, which is great because sometimes I love my own company. Don't get me wrong. I like just sitting by myself in the quiet. I'll read a book. I'll watch a YouTube video. I'll write a script. Yeah, I'll drink cola, cherry cola zero, and all the rest of it. But sometimes it's like, I'll be sitting there, I haven't had a particularly good day, or I'm a bit tired, or whatever. You just feel a bit miserable. Never lonely. I don't get lonely, but I always feel a bit depressed when I'm just sort of sitting there, like not making progress. I'm not doing much of anything. So it's nice to associate with you guys and have some positivity. You guys sort of feed my motivation to keep creating stuff, and so I very much appreciate you. Thank you, Abyss. I do agree, it's a sick shirt. I really like this shirt. I think it's awesome. It's really good. I remember the very first time I joined one of your streams. Well, oh, really? So, yeah, it's literally a year ago today, then. That's wild. Crazy. Does it feel like a year to you? It doesn't feel like a year to me. Watchy Kitty, hey Gem. I made a YouTube to show my OC Little Nightmares visitor. If you'd be interested to know, I'd be interested to know your thoughts when you have the chance to see. It's Watch reworked. Oh yes, Watch. Yes, sorry, I forgot that's the name of your character is Watch, isn't it? Reworked some context like you suggested. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Future Gem, there you go. There's a little note for you. Go check out Mochi Kitty's channel and have a look at some of these OC concepts. I really like your OC characters, by the way. When people create like artworks of environments and visitors and residents and like Little Nightmares inspired concepts, I love checking them out. I love going to see like what you guys create. That's why I like channels that are really creative, like the Overman or Just GKS or in fact Nick Jube, GamerJube. They create things where it's like this is all. Or Kip Animations is another one. Who's been creating some really cool stuff recently, and every now and again I'll just be scrolling and it'll pop up and I'm like, oh, what's Kip drawn? And I love seeing these things. Marky Mark as well. Marky Mark sent me some really cool concepts recently for the Little Nightmares DLC that we're working on as a community. The live stream for that is actually coming up next week as well. So we're going to be conceptualizing the first level. And like how Frill, our main character, our like voted on main character, drawn by Kit Kat Katsy, is going to be animated, and how she's going to function within the hotel environment, and the and how she's going to do battle with whatever vicious ne'er-do-wells she encounters within the nowhere. Believe it or not, the Abyss wears braces. The Abyss, even the Abyss wears braces. Oh no! Dr. Nightmare, I actually have that shirt, but moths got to it. Well, that sucks. Rip your shirt. Thank you, Gaming Universe. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. Al7 Hellspawn, do you think Dime became the Mirror Master? I don't think so. I don't think so. I just feel like I'm like, after thinking on it, I know the concept makes sense because she's in, like, when we close out the backstage area, she's in that nexus and it's full of mirrors, and it would stand to reason that she's trapped there for, such a length of time that she's distorted and she learns to control the power and she becomes this entity. But I don't think she's the Mirror Man. I know that it's not necessarily specified that he's a man either, but it just seems very direct. Like, she's obviously a little girl, and the Mirror Man is like this is the thing, right? So the adults that come into the nowhere, it doesn't seem become adults while they're there, unless you count Mono. It's difficult, isn't it? It's really difficult. I don't think she is. It's possible. It's absolutely certainly possible. But I don't think she is. I think she'll tie into it somehow. I do think they're going to introduce whatever the monster in the mirror is. But I think if anything, Dime will rescue us from it. or she might die to it. You know, it might be something that she has to do battle with while we go on a little mission to save her. Master Grand Counselor Gemini, happy day of your birth. Thank you, Noah. I appreciate you. Not only that, but he's had to delete some of his concepts from his original channel. Is that true about NickTube? That's a shame, that, because he's such a creative person. He's got a great accent, his storytelling and his delivery is really good. I was always very impressed with GamerTube as a channel. I thought it was really good. He had like a full-blown series, like I think it was called the Orphan Saga. It was just super cool. I really liked it. It's such a pity that, like, I don't know the ins and outs. I won't pretend to. I don't know what went on behind the scenes between GamerTube and YouTube and why they decided to why they decided to just demonetize his channel. But it sort of swept the living out from under the guy, and he had a team working with him as well that have assumedly suffered for it as well. So it sucks because they are actually phenomenal creators. I'm glad that he continued to make stuff, though. Gemini, what do you think that Little Nightmares 3 DLC number 2 is going to be about as you're the best Little Nightmares theorist? I don't know about the best. I'm certainly a theorist, but I don't know about the best one. I think the best Little Nightmares theorist is It's Just Jord. He's my favourite, and he was the inspiration for me even making this channel. If anyone's going to guess and get it right, it'll either be Jord or the Overman, because Overman is a very, very analytical mind, very intelligent person. I've watched some of, and while the Overman is more a creative than a theorist, if he was to put his mind into creating a theory, he'd probably nail it. He's very, very good. I think that the Shaws, so the Little Nightmares backstage, left our heroes low and alone in the Shaws after accidentally abandoning Dime to the mirror dimension. So the Shaws has one structure that really stands out, being the lighthouse, right? The lighthouse area definitely stands out as a monument, like the signal tower or the moor or something like that. It's like that is the general focal point. And it seems to be the area where our characters are going to end up. I'm not sure if it's a threat or if it's salvation, but for one reason or another, they want to be there. They want to go there. It would make sense for them to tie in the moor, especially given the evidence we've seen surrounding the yellow raincoat. I would hope that we get to see like early stages of the moor. Potentially, and this is very far-fetched, and I doubt this is going to happen, but it would be really cool if we got to see the early stages of the moor and we got to see the Wax Bellman, or we got to see the Hanging Man, and it just explain some of the early stories, because the fact that we saw the yellow raincoat as described in the Sounds of Nightmares episode 6 by Noon, when she retells the story to Otto, we see that room as it was when Noon, like before Low and Alone, right? Then Law and Dime visit that room, we see the yellow raincoat, so we can assume 6 doesn't have it yet, meaning 6 isn't on the moor, meaning that whatever happens in Little Nightmares 3 has to take place before the moor. So if the moor hasn't been infiltrated by 6, we might get to see it as it was operating way before 6 ever arrived to lay waste to it. So we could see some of these stories tied up, right? We could see what happens to the Hanging Man. We could see the Wax Bellman and why we didn't. We might see 3 chefs instead of 2 and learn what happened to the 3rd one. There's a number of ways it could tie into the moor. I don't know if they'll let us fully explore that, or if that's a concept that they might go further with in like an extension of the DLC, depending on its success, or maybe even Little Nightmares 4, if that happens in 12 years' time or something. I don't think that's what's going to happen, but I think that might be a good way to build it up. I think what's going to happen is they're going to give us more tie-ins to the Sounds of Nightmares, so definitely more evidence regarding the Ferryman. I think the Ferryman is definitely going to make some kind of appearance in Little Nightmares 3's second DLC. I don't know what our main enemy will be, It could be some kind of fisherman, someone who has to utilize a vessel, because I'm going to assume that we have to make our way to the lighthouse. So we're going to have to be on the harbour, right? So we go along the shores, and then work our way to the harbour, and then eventually up to the lighthouse. And the lighthouse will presumably be guiding in ships, and those ships will be taking people, presumably guests, to the mall. Because the mall, now, I've seen some speculation as well that structure, that ship with the anchor that's docked where Little Nightmares DLC ends, I've heard it said that is the mall. And I don't think it is. I don't think it's the mall, because the mall doesn't dock, ever. It appears randomly in the ocean at the same time, but never in the same place, but it never docks. That's the point. I've even looked around the structure. There is no anchor. It's just a permanent floating fortress. It's constantly on the move. It's always moving around. And even when it remains dorsal, it's so ridiculously enormous that it's just static. You couldn't dock the thing. That's why ships have to go to and from it. You know, these frigate ships or carrier ships to take guests there and drop off the merchandise. So I think that if anything, we're going to get an idea of how people get to the mall. The backstage kind of explained, in a way, if you believe the theories, and I do, that the girl in the yellow raincoat was the girl who the puppeteer was playing with the hair of, and I believe she is one of the actors, you know, one of the visitors, one of the attractions of the carnival. I'll show you for why in a minute as well, because I've been thinking about this a lot. I think you guys will have some really good theories. In fact, I'll shrink my face. Let me get through a couple more comments, and I want to break this down with you guys, because I think if that is true, and we've sort of used that to explain away the Raincoat Girl's trip to the nest in Very Little Nightmares, which predates the original Little Nightmares 2 and subsequently 1, then we could also be getting a tie-in to Little Nightmares 1. So we're sort of tying up Very Little Nightmares, you know, well, not tying it up, but we're sort of giving more evidence to support that and substantiate it in the backstage, and then the Shaws might do the same thing for 6, potentially. Captain Jack Spanner, what's up, mate? Alan? I know who you are, because I literally just read your message a few minutes ago. I know who you are, and I nearly doxed you on the internet. How you doing, brother? It's good to see you. Finally got your live stream first time. We're both busy guys. I'll be going. I appreciate the kind words, mate. I intend to message you back after this stream as well. The only reason I didn't is because I was literally running my diagnostics and everything and trying to equalize my sound when I read your message, but I left it open on my screen. I've closed Facebook now, but I've got the message open. I'm going to be messaging you back as soon as it finishes. But yeah, I appreciate you, mate. I appreciate you very much. And I'm proud of you also. You've taken a step from what I read in that message. Cherry cola in that cup? Exactly, yeah. And the water's ice, but it's melted because it's like 30 degrees in here. Hi, Jem. I'm currently on a 6-hour road trip, so I can't stay. I just wanted to pop in and say happy birthday. I hope you're having an amazing day. Thank you, Kip. I appreciate you very much. And don't worry, I didn't expect anyone to show up today. Like I say, rather impromptu and random. It's not a long stream. It's not a planned stream. It's just, it happens to be my birthday, but it is not a weekend. Normally I only stream on weekends because that frees everyone up, because you don't have to worry about school, work, university, college and all the rest of it, at least not as much. The problem with Little Nightmares 3 is a lack of show don't tell. I explored this very topic in a short recently, and I've been applying it to new videos that I've been trying to make, you know, when I'm writing my script, because a lot of what I've been making tells. It does tell, because my videos are designed to explain what Tazia, Bandai and Supermassive don't. so that people can get a better understanding of it. And that's cool, you know, that's good, because people like seeing that come together. You know, people like seeing palpable evidence with which to substantiate theories that have been floating around, or maybe headcanons of their own. You know, how did that particular bandage get there? Why was a raincoat in this particular place? Why does that kid only have one arm? You know, and I tried to explain a lot of those things, which is great for what the purpose of those videos was. But as far as designing Little Nightmares games and comics and everything else goes, you're not supposed to tell. The reason I tell in a lot of my old videos is because that was the idea of them, was to explain a lot of what wasn't told. But I also like to add mystery as well. So when it comes to writing these new scripts and making new videos and things like that, when it comes to creating new content, I am going to be applying a lot more of show don't tell and letting you guys figure it all out. And this time I will be making a point of not clarifying anything. Like, you can ask me, hey Jem, what did you mean by this particular implication? And I'm like, figure it out, theorize. You know, just to be fun. Is your mum recovering well? Yes, very well. Oh, I had dinner with them today. I went to my parents' house to have like a birthday dinner. My dad made, it was amazing. He made like homemade Chinese food, and it was crazy. He made us like, you know, beef noodles and chicken and egg fried rice. We got some ribs in there as well. I tried I'm not a fan of ribs. I give them a try though. They weren't bad, but they just needed burning a little bit. And some chicken. He gave me some chicken balls with spicy honey. It was gorgeous. It was so nice, and my mum was really happy. And they gave me this lovely shirt, and I got a cake as well. So I'm absolutely buzzing. It was just lovely. Thank you so much. I love when people ask about my mum as well, because she is doing very, very well, remarkably well. She's very, very strong. I'm really proud of my mum. This is a bit of a silly idea for an enemy in Little Nightmares, of a man that sits in a chair when chasing the player. He doesn't stand up but kicks the floor to move backwards. You know what? That could kind of work, because the thing about Little Nightmares enemies is they're just kind of weird, right? There's something off about them. If they're too human, they're not. This is the thing. That's why, of all the creatures in Little Nightmares universe, the most human ones are the ones that are the most sinister. Like, they're the creepiest, because it's like the teacher. The teacher, for me, is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. She's terrifying, right? An absolutely petrifying creature. A lot of people are just like, well, it just looks like an old woman with a stick. Like, yes, it does, but she's just off, right? She's so uncanny. I think the teacher is a primary example of why the Nowhere is so effective as horror. Right, I know that they don't necessarily label the Little Nightmares games as horror, strictly speaking. Oi, you're old. Thank you, Andrew, good guy. I appreciate that. You are not wrong. Iggy plays. I bet there's more than one yellow raincoat on Earth. Yes, potentially there is. Hoping Little Nightmares 6, the series, will end on the Maw, and all the kids will come together and say, Little Nightmares assemble and defeat 6 of her powers. For crying out loud. Yeah, I mean, anything's possible, to be honest. Right. Do you think the bathhouse in the Sounds of Nightmares Chapter 2 could be in the shorts? You know what? Maybe. It'd be kind of hard to pull off, given the game's maturity rating. But you could imply a whole lot without showing anything disturbing, right? I definitely think that they could apply that area, and I really hope that they do, because I think the bathhouse is just such a sinister, messed up place that really sells how screwed up the Nowhere is. When he's using they've got that guest in the bathtub, in the bathhouse, and he's using Jester as a sponge. He's literally using a human child to scrub grime from his body, to a point where he's drowning him. He's drowning the kid in the water, and he's suffocating him like that. It's like he doesn't even know. He's just like, this is not a human being. This is a tool. You know, this is something functional for me to cleanse myself with. It's just, ugh, right? It's gross. It's gross, and it's disturbing, and it's messed up, and I love it. Avan Z, or Avon Z. My prediction for the stream: everyone's going to ask where Katsy is, then she's going to go get... She'll definitely throw a shoe at somebody. 100%, because Katsy is the shoe monster confirmed. What's up, Marky Mark? How's it going? That's Marky Mark, by the way. I was talking about your concept art earlier on, Mark. I'm not sure if you were in the chat when it was happening, but I mentioned that I was looking at your artwork earlier on. Not gonna lie, I feel like the Carnival is a lot bigger than we give it credit for. I wouldn't be surprised if all the kids go there at some point. Right? Yeah, it's very, very popular. Notice how many kids have actually been there in recent literature. There's Noon, who obviously went there, and we know. And then Rusty and his friends were all a part of the Carnival as well, with the Kin and the Minikin. So Noon's story took place there. Dime was there. Low and Alone went there. The children from the Lonely Ones novel, Ruse, Mim, and Feast, they were all on the Carnival as well. It is absolutely enormous. It's so huge, and I think it is a very, very significant part of the Little Nightmares universe and the Nowhere in general. It obviously has a massive impact on everything around it, which I think is why it has now arguably become the focal point of Little Nightmares 3. When they first started advertising Little Nightmares 3 and the Necropolis was a new thing, and it was really jarring for everyone, it was like, well, this doesn't feel very Little Nightmares, because it was only because of the colour palette change. That was what threw everyone off. It threw me, because I was like, ooh, I don't know if I like sunlight. You know, I don't like it. I don't know if I like warm. I don't know if I'm okay with warmth in the Nowhere, even though it does exist, and we see it in the first game. Literally, the sun is shining. It's a beautiful day on the moor. You just don't know it because there's no friggin' windows. But yeah, and then as the story developed and everything, I started to think the Candy Factory might be a bit more of a setting that's like, well, oh, this is more like it because this is more like the moor. And the Candy Factory was my personal favourite area. At least it was when I played the game. Because and I was biased because I predicted the Candy Factory before it was a Candy Factory. Or at least before it was advertised that it was a Candy Factory. It was my first ever theory video, was where I was like, I think I'm onto something. And I put it out in a video and it blew up and went really well. That's where a lot of you guys found me. But I loved the Candy Factory. But I was wrong about the fact that that was going to be the main focal point, because it's not. And although it ties in to the Carnival, the Candy Factory isn't the primary focus, the Carnival is. Because the Carnival is in every piece of media that we've seen so far, apart from the Descent to Nowhere comics. They seem to focus a little bit more on the prison and the jailer, but they did feature Otto, and Otto has some significance there as well. So, all good. I think Mono is the most powerful and versatile kid in the verse. Potentially. I would humbly disagree, though. I think it's 6. From the kids that we've met anyway, because the only ones that we've seen that have like significant powers, like actual superpowers, are Mono, 6, and Lo. And of all of them, I feel like 6s are the most dangerous. But I don't know what Mono's powers would do to 6. And, you know, because the thing is, and the reason I say it is because Mono might be less, I don't know if it's just because Mono seems less capable. Not that he can't use his powers, he obviously can. He used them to defeat the Thin Man. But I don't know if he could bring himself to use them on 6, whereas I don't think 6 would have the same hesitation. She'd just be like, yep, force choke, and just suck the soul straight out of him. And I don't think she'd feel anything. She'd just be like, good fight, bro, GG, and she'd just leave. Whereas Mono, you know, it'd be like, you know, the anime protagonist who has to kill his best friend because of a disagreement, and they have this, like, massive dialogue. Then there's all this power-up, and there's loads of tears, and the dramatic music and everything, and there's a huge build-up to it, and then eventually, he pulls the trigger and he takes her out. 6 wouldn't have all of that build-up. She'd just be like, okay, so I'm going to kill you, right? Okay. And she'd just do it. And her powers are so effective, like we just watched her walk through the last hallway and execute like 14 people back to back on her way out of the building. Yeah, Iggy Plays, I agree. Not gonna lie, I kind of feel like the Carnival is a lot bigger. Yeah, sorry, I've read that one. Backstage answered a few questions about the girl in the yellow raincoat. Yes, it did. That's also something that I'm going to be checking out. I'm going to invite you guys to do something with me in a second anyways. Nikki Gibbs, what's up? You're not late, Nikki. Don't you worry about it. Gem, I'm currently trying to get the Hard to the Core achievement. Can you give me some pro tips? Yeah, absolutely. Jump while running. That's pro tip number one. Jump while you sprint, because you cover more distance. So continuously jumping will help you maintain speed. Um, Also, the janitor is not as fast as you think. There are several areas where you can just run straight past him. Like, for instance, the initial encounter with the janitor can be entirely skipped. You know, when you walk into the room, the door blows closed, and you hide under the bed, you wait for like 20 seconds for him to like do his feel around, and then he leaves the room and you have to sneak out. Don't do any of that. Just run. Just run. Like, even when he opens the door, you're running along the carpet, he won't notice. So you can just run straight on by and get into the next room. You're already out of there. Like, you can be still running while he's in the room. He won't chase you, and if he does, he won't catch you. That would be pro tip number two. Pro tip number three is be aware of your stamina bar, because the primary thing that I find is that I die to environments, and it's because you're focused so much on the time frame. You have more time than you think you have. The hard to the core achievement seems hard because you're under time pressure, but the truth is you can just play the game exactly as it's supposed to be played, you know, hiding and everything, without any speedrun strategies or anything like that, and still get it, as long as you don't accidentally die. And a lot of the time when I die in Little Nightmares, especially part one, it's not to the monsters, it's to the environment. I'm like running really fast, and I'm running for so long that I forget that Six has a stamina bar, so she'll get tired, and then I'll try and jump, but her jump distance is cut in half because I've exhausted her, and she's like, and then I'm like, now jump across this thing. She's like, because she doesn't have any energy left. You have to stop dead. Also, crouching. When you crouch, hold the run button so that you walk faster, because that doesn't take up any stamina. So if you're crouching in a vent, hold the square button, or the, you know, whatever, it's a square button for me. Whatever the sprint button is for you, hold the sprint button while you're crouching all the time, because it doesn't use up stamina. My biggest question: is the loop only with mono, or is it worldwide? Also, the eyes, are they godlike or just another monster? It's tough. They do seem to worship the eyes, and I do think that they have a godlike presence. They're obviously vulnerable. They have a weakness. They need vessels. They need conduits, okay? So you saw what happened to the signal tower when Six was removed from it. When Mono severed the connection by destroying the music box, the signal tower loses the ability to maintain its form, and it just descends into chaos. And it essentially falls apart. And the only way it's able to rebuild itself is when it traps Mono, and it uses his essence to rebuild itself. I think that they require us. I think that the Nowhere itself is one giant living entity, like an eldritch being, like Cthulhu or Azathoth, or something like that, or Nyarlathotep, some Lovecraftian entity that sees us as like we are practically bacteria to it. Like, you don't pay any particular attention to what's keeping you alive on a day-to-day basis. We have white blood cells in our body that constantly fight viruses and infections, things like that. We have cells called macrophages, which are like phagocytic particles that go through the body and literally find stuff that's wrong with us and actively kill it. And we don't pay them any mind. Like, a lot of people don't even know they exist, but they're responsible for keeping us alive. The children in the Nowhere could essentially be the white blood cells. They're the thing that's giving it life. And the Nowhere is so oblivious to them that it doesn't mind mistreating them. It's just like, whatever. You know, you dismiss it the same as you dismiss the fact that you have eyes or fingers or anything. Your fingernails, stuff. It sort of takes them for granted. And then when they suddenly turn on you, when you fight back, then you're aware. Like teeth. Okay, we all have teeth, or the majority of us have teeth. And you use them to eat, and you take them for granted. You don't notice any, like, at all. The only time you really notice your teeth is when they hurt or when they go missing. Then it's like, oh my god, this is terrible. This is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. I'm in so much pain. I need to spend money. I have to get dental treatment. It's going to affect the way I look. It's like, oh my god, now I can't eat because I've had to have the tooth removed. And it's the worst. But you're so unaware of it in your day-to-day life, and that could be how this eldritch entity sees the visitors in the Nowhere. They're just part and parcel. And when something goes wrong, it sees them as like a gangrenous limb or a decaying tooth. It's like, I should really get rid of it, but I need it. It's like if you one of your fingers, if you get frostbite in your fingers, you need to cut them off. You need to remove your limbs. You need to remove the fingers. It's like, but I need them. I don't want to, because I'll fall apart without them. My life will change without them. They're so necessary. But you don't notice when you're just typing away or tapping away on your phone or you take it for granted. Anyway, that was a whole spiel. What's up, brother Fipsy? How you doing, man? Hey, brother, I can't stay for long, but just wanted to wish you a very happy birthday. Hope you had an amazing day today. Spending time with my family and friends celebrating this special. Absolutely, and that's exactly what I'm doing, Fipsy. I've had a wonderful day. I got to see my parents earlier. I got a lovely gift. I got a wonderful tea, and now I get to chill out with all of you guys and enjoy some little Nightmares theory crafting on a weekday of all days, and it's dope. Thank you so much, Fipsy. I appreciate you, mate. Jester saw things no child should ever see. I agree. Jester's fate was probably the worst. Thank you, Bookworm. I appreciate you. What's up, Nevada? Hello, Aspen Groves. Sorry I was late getting a tooth pulled. That's so weird. We were just talking about that. But doesn't it suck? Doesn't it suck, Aspen? It's... Oh, that's really funny. That was exactly what we were just talking about. I've had a few teeth pulled in my life. I've had a lot of dental work done. And I actually like the dentist. It's weird. I have like a strange affection with it where it's... I get really excited about it. Like the last time I was at the dentist, like, don't get me wrong, it always sucks. I don't like the dental treatment, but I like the fact that it's so effective. I like the fact that it makes you better. So it's like, because I've been in pain. I don't think there's a lot worse pain than toothache. If you've got a toothache, it sucks. And it's like, you can't eat, you can't sleep, like it affects every aspect of your day-to-day life. You can't concentrate on anything for it. And the dentist here, I'm very grateful for being able to have a dentist that I can walk into and just say, Doc, I need you to fix this issue, and they can, and they're very, very capable. I forgot where I was going with that there. There was a point. Oh yeah, and so the last time I was in there, I went in there for a root canal treatment. And it was like, oh no, this is going to suck because root canal's kind of painful. But there was a little girl in there as well. And she was sitting there with her parents and she was crying. Like, she was hysterical crying. She was really upset because she had to go to the dentist. She was only about 7 years old or something like that. And she was really upset. And her mother, in order to calm her down, was just like, I don't know why you're so upset. Look at this man. This man's not upset. He's not scared. He's not crying. And I'm sitting in the chair just looking out the window. And I was like, oh, me? And at the time, I'm nervous because I'm about to get in the chair, right? I'm 5 minutes away from a root canal treatment. This little girl sort of looks up at me like that with like big glassy eyes. I'm like, you alright, kiddo? And she's like, I'm scared. I'm like, why are you scared? It's awesome. The dentist is great. The dentist makes you feel better. And she's like, you're not scared. I'm like, no, not even a little bit. I'm excited. I can't wait to get in. And then when the doctor came out, the dentist came out and she's like, Jem, she got me to go in. I'm like, okay, then fair enough. And I had to go in with a big smile on my face. Hi, all right, how you doing? She was like, oh, you're in such a good mood. You're really happy today. And I was like, yeah, I'm really excited. Let's get this done. And the little girl was like all smiley and happy. And, it sort of like seemed to renew her sense of like self-esteem and build her confidence a little bit, and it was nice. And then I went and got in the chair. I was like, oh god, this is gonna suck. And it did suck, but I was only in the chair for 15-20 minutes, and then I came out and I was fine. 24 hours later, I'm back to eating ice cream and stuff. I was really happy. So yeah, go to the dentist, guys. It's really good for you. Do you think the North Wind will ever be introduced to the game? Oh, I hope so. I really hope so, because we've seen a couple of hints towards the North Wind in the Necropolis. So Necropolis showed us a couple of examples of hints towards the North Wind with the skeletons, right? The skeletons of the ravens or the crows, whichever they are. Ravens. They're ravens. Oh, excuse me. And also, there is an image in the Carnival, in the backstage, in fact, drawn of what is assumed to be a picture of the North Wind. He's not depicted like he is in the thing, the black, ominous shape, but there is a picture that looks like a stenciled hand drawing in the Carnival, in the backstage area, and it's like wind blowing a tree down, essentially. And I think that might be a nod to the north wind as well. And it's quite close to a picture of the ferryman also, so that could be cool. I really hope that he's in it. I don't know how he would be implemented, but it would be really cool. What's up, Xerox? How you doing? GKS is in the building. What's up, GKS? How you doing? I was about to watch your video earlier, actually. Just GKS recently released a video about the kin and the minikin, the man in the purple suit. And while I don't know what the video is about, I'm hoping it's a sculpture video or a start of a collection for the for Little Nightmares 3. Or for the Carnival area, because I talked a lot about so when I played Little Nightmares 3's DLC, the backstage, that place where you go and you see the big painting of the ship, the Carnival ship, I talked about GKS in that one because just GKS drew their concept of the ship, the Carnival ship, and sent it to me for me to review and have a look at, and it was exceptional. I thought it was really good and very inspired. I was like, that is so cool. It's really, really good. And then when I went and played the backstage DLC and I saw that the developers had included a full-blown concept art of the ship in the game, I was like, oh my god, it's so good. It's so similar to GKS's actual design. And I was astonished by the similarities between them. I was really impressed. So yeah, you guys should definitely check that out. Thank you, Marky Mark. Appreciate you. Alex Smallwood, happy birthday, Gemini. I can't stay because I'm at work right now. Hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, Alex, and have a great day at work. I hope your shift goes all right. Samir Lovin, hello, Gemini. This is Alex the Frog. I'm locked out on my previous account, but I just want to say happy birthday, brother. Thank you so much, Alex. I appreciate you very much. The fact that you've come in on a different account just to wish me a happy birthday is very, very important to me. Thank you so much. I'm really glad to see you as well. I thought I haven't seen your name pop up in the stream for a while. I was hoping you were alright. Gemini, you just made me blink manually. I can make you breathe manually too. Well, that would suck. Eye symbolism is like Big Brother. So what if the eyes are all-powerful ferryman trying to remind people who responds to who? See, this is the thing. While that concept itself is very Big Brother and 100% accurate, but the ferryman part I'm not sure I agree with, only because the ferryman spoke on it himself. He said he feeds the spectrum's other end. I think that the ferryman, he could be a conduit of the nowhere, but he's responsible for keeping it alive. He could be like the macrophages, right? He could be the part that responds. So basically, if we go back to my body concept earlier where I was talking about, you know, we need white blood cells to keep us alive. Well, there are systems in place. So he could be the nucleus that's responsible for dispersing these particular kids. So like these particular white blood cells, the cells that keep the nowhere alive. And he might, you know, because he learns the most about them, right? And he draws them in and he learns how to manipulate them into voluntarily submitting themselves to the nowhere and descending like we've seen him do with Noon. Like he presumably does with all of the children. So it stands to reason that if he has access to their mind and their memories, and the nowhere is built based upon it, then he could dictate where they would be best placed. Maybe that's why he lets them go. Because you notice that the children that we've seen fade in and out of the nowhere, like Noon and Ethan and Lo, well, not Ethan, but Lo has been known to go drift in and out of the nowhere, right? You know, he'll disappear or come back, and Otto will keep coming in and checking on him, and that's what Otto was doing with Noon. She would vanish, evanesce away, and then she'd come back. It's like, and Otto even questions it himself. Otto is like, he let her go. Why? Because he didn't have to, she was already there. Why did he bring her back? What's the point? And I think it's because the ferryman is trying to learn enough about them and where they fit within the nowhere to make it appeal to them, right? He's learning where they would best fit. He's learning where they would be the most influential or beneficial to the nowhere as a whole. He might be responsible for that. So he'll bring him in one day. He'll take her to the shores. And it'll be like, she goes to the bathhouse and everything. It's like, yeah, you don't really suit here. try the carnival, right? We'll go to the carnival, we'll build the carnival area up. It's like, you know, is the nowhere any good with this? Are you of benefit to this place? Can you be used here? Are you a valuable resource here? You know, is there any point to having you here, yes or no? And in Noon's case, it was like, well, no, she doesn't really, you know, well, actually, no, it was like, all right, yes. Because I can't remember, like, Noon's story effectively ended there, didn't it? Because that was the last place she went, was that room in the carnival, where she hid in the chest. She hid in the chest from the puppeteer. So it could just be that he manually decides where they're going to fit in throughout the nowhere. And he's responsible for that, which is why he drops in and out. Oh my god, totally zoned out and drawing, completely forgot I was here. Don't worry, I do that all the time. When I get tied up into something, I sort of drift away and sort of like, what was I in the middle of? Because, you know, like hours and hours have gone by. Catsy with the dono, look at you. Kit Kat Catsy, happy birthday, Gemini. I'm sorry. Do not apologise for giving me money. God damn it, woman. You are so autistic. I say that with love, by the way. I know a lot of autistic folks, and I deal with a lot of people who have debilitating mental health conditions, and something notorious about autistic people is they will constantly apologise for things they ought not apologise for. You do not owe me an apology for showing up to my stream. You do not owe me an apology for sending me a gift. You do not owe me an apology for being a valuable part of my life. Right? The fact that I had to tell somebody, I had to tell another friend of mine who again is autistic. She said to me earlier on, do I regret meeting her? I'm like, no, absolutely not. Why? And she was like, just sometimes I like to hear it. You know, I like to hear the affirmation, know that you don't secretly hate me. No, there's nothing secret about it. I'm shallow as hell, and I'm blunt enough to tell you. If I don't like you, I tell you to your face. I am transparent as hell. I will be that cruel. I might try and say it with some tact, but under no uncertain circumstances. If you become a detriment to my peace, you will cease to be a part of my life. I will abandon you. I'll cut you off like a gangrenous limb, and I'll feel nothing. And I say that to everyone, right? I communicate that a lot. And we were talking for a little bit longer, and then I was like, right, I've got to go because I'm heading down to my mum and dad's. I'm going to go and have dinner with them and everything like that. So I really hope you have a good time. I hope you get cake and I hope you get gifts. I'm sorry. I was like, what did you apologise for? And she's like, I don't know. Why? Why do you feel it? And she's like, well, I know I'm a pain. And I was like, you wished me a happy birthday and you hope I have a wonderful time. There is nothing to apologise for. Why are you sorry? You don't owe me an apology. Catsy, thank you so much for your generous donation and everything else that you do. You are very much appreciated and you are very, very valuable. Not only to me, but as a member of this community. Do not apologise. I will throw my shoe. Let me get some eyeballs in the chat for Kit Kat Catsy, please, guys, if you would be so kind. I'm going to give you some myself. Boom. There you go. Yes, indeed. Throw a shoe at yourself. I am very autistic and proud of it. Indeed. And you should take it as a compliment as well. Neurodivergence is a superpower in itself. The thing I said before, I finished. I have autism and I feel like you're calling me out. Yeah, maybe I am feline. Maybe I am calling you out. But don't apologise for it. I won't. I will throw my shoe. Iggy plays. Oh my days. Let's go, autistic team. Okay. Hey, Chat and Gem. Watching from VR. Hey, what's up? Step, am I right in your face? Am I right in your face right now? Give me the goddamn headset, Step. What's up, Step? How you doing? I'm glad you could join us. One of us. One of us. One of us. Guys, I want to share something with you. I keep saying that I'm going to invite you guys to do something with me, and I am about to. Forgive me for 1 second, I've lost chat. Oh my god. And also, I've just, like, my stream has just caught up, and I can see my face in your face. I'm so sorry that you were subjected to that. But yeah, I wanted to show you guys something and ask what you think. So, I'm just going to share my screen in a second. I'll just make sure I've got everything on it. So, I've got CC, secret project can hide. There you go. That's something that I don't want you guys to see just yet. I want you guys to see this. And there. Okay. Poof. Small gem. Okay then, guys, so here is you guys. Here's chat. Say hi, chat. Oh, I highlighted you. Oh no, help. Help, stop, help. Alright, everybody say hi, chat. What's up, guys? You guys can now see what I can see, okay? And there's you guys in chat. So, there are a couple of things. Yes, you are. Can't touch you. To your face. What's up, little Sasha? How's it going? Welcome in, Sasha. Hi, chat. Yes, it's been an amazing birthday so far, Cathy. Do you like my shirt? I got a new shirt. It's off Mama Gem. Well, Mama and Papa Gem. Both of my parents bought me a new Six shirt, and I love it. I couldn't believe it. I was really happy because I was debating what to wear, because I've got a couple of like Little Nightmares based clothes, and I'm like, I've got my Low and Alone hoodie, but I wore that yesterday. I've got this shirt as well, but I wore this during the last stream, so I was like, I don't know if I can wear it. No, what am I going to wear? I've got no other Little Nightmares merchandise. And then I went to my parents, and they gave me this, and I'm like, oh, perfect. I'll wear that in tonight's stream. It's awesome. YouTube removed the clipping function, so I'll definitely oh god. Oh no, I forgot who I'm messing with. Steph's gonna make it out of context video. We have the same shirt, Scorpius. That's awesome. Oh, it's a dope shirt. I really like this one. Guys, look at this. So, girl in the yellow raincoat. Okay. Damn it. It's going to keep moving my chat, so I might have to get a bit creative with the format here. But girl in the yellow raincoat. We see this image in Little Nightmares 1. Okay? And I thought it was curious. And when I first seen this 9 years ago, I was like, what a peculiar painting, right? That's got to be Six, right? And it's Six with long hair. You know, she looks a bit raggedy and blah, blah, blah. And then we see the very same girl with the lady. And also, I know now that this is like now. So something else. This is complicated because it was implied that this was Six in the original game, and the storyline wasn't as developed as it is now. So this could have been Six back then, right? It could have been an early concept for Six. I think even one of the I think even the character model is called Six Long Hair, right? I think I might be misremembering stuff here, but I thought that perhaps this could be Cece. And the reason I made my second ever theory video was based on this image, because I thought Cece could be the flashlight girl, right? I thought that that's who it might be because of this image, because we see this girl wearing the yellow raincoat, but without the yellow raincoat, she's flashlight girl. Because the character model, I wonder if I've still got the character model up on screen. I hope I do. Damn, no, I don't. But Flashlight Girl is that child. Okay, so like you guys can look it up anyway. None of you are stupid, but that is Flashlight Girl. That is her character model. That's the character model they used for Flashlight Girl. So I was like, oh well, she was the original owner of the raincoat then. Flashlight Girl was the original owner of the raincoat. But again, like that was back then before CC was a thing. Before that was before the girl in the yellow raincoat was a thing, right? This is back when all we had was Six, and it was curious. But something else that appeared alongside this image was other pictures in the ladies' quarters of children wearing yellow raincoats, like this kid, for instance. This kid wearing a yellow raincoat. Yeah? Or this kid wearing a yellow raincoat. Or this kid wearing a yellow raincoat. Right? And I was like, oh, these are hideous concepts. Like, what happened to these children? Because back then I didn't know who these children were or what they did or anything like that. Right? It was just like, these are messed up other things in the mall. Or other parts of the nowhere, right? These are other examples of what can happen to children in the nowhere. Maybe they're just monsters we haven't encountered yet. But something I never put together was the fact that these are masks. So this thing here, the reason I think it's a mask is because we see this kid. Yeah? This kid. Yeah? Why is he wearing a raincoat here? Why is he wearing this here? It's because this isn't a kid. This is a mask. This is a mask. This is a mask. This, at least in my opinion, is this girl wearing a mask. Right? That girl is this person under the mask. Okay? And she wears a series of these masks throughout the series. Every single one of them. And this image is found somewhere else. And some of you guys will know where I'm going with this. There. It's not going to show up particularly well on your screen, so I apologize. But right at the end of the DLC, the backstage, this image can be found just after you defeat the puppeteer. This image here. Right? That image there is this. Oh. Forgive me. I should have just opened the other one, but I've committed now. I'm doing it. There. These are the same. This is this. And if this is also this, then this is Cece. Potentially. Right? Do you get it? Like, do you see the logic? Do you understand where I'm going with this? Do you get why this is a point of contention for me? Because something else that I was trying to figure out for quite a while was the location of this image. There. I was trying to find that, and I found the backdrop. I thought I found this image, and I found the backdrop in the what's it called? The Vault of Curiosities. There's a case in the Vault of Curiosities on the Carnival in Little Nightmares 3 where you find this backdrop behind a dummy in a case. And I was like, oh, I found it. But then Step pointed out that I hadn't found it. And Step was unfortunately correct because the image I found didn't have Lo in it. Lo wasn't there. Just this backdrop, with the lettering and everything. And I was like, oh, well, that's a shame, because I was hoping to prove that Lo was a member of the Carnival, and I was trying to find it somewhere. And I speculated, oh, well, maybe we'll get to see it in the DLC when that comes out, because this is from the game files, this image here of Lo. So it's like, all right, then, well, where is it? And we looked all over. Step and I and a lot of other Little Nightmares series combed all the way through the game and could not find this image. So we assumed it's got to be in the DLC. And we were partially correct because that wasn't in the DLC, but the backdrop was here. See? Same lettering, same layout, same advertising a talent within the Carnival. But it's not featuring Lo. It's featuring this yellow raincoat wearing, mask wearing thing, person. And this could be her. So, let me just read a little bit of chat and then I'm going to move on to something else that I found really curious that I want you guys to speculate on with me. Let me just close that. She has same face shape as Otto. Yeah, right? Oops, sorry. Screw up. Did I miss somebody? Minamigo. Hello, Minamigo. What's up, Reaper Death? How's it going? Yeah, I just joined the stream, got my haircut. Happy birthday! Hey, I got my haircut too. Thank you, CC. I appreciate you very much. That's CC 9 years ahead. They fooled us again. Maybe a bit of a stretch, but Torch Girl is CC. Right, so I made a theory about nearly 2 years ago now called the flashlight theory, and I speculated that very same thing. And I did give some evidence to substantiate it, and I feel like it might be kind of debunked now because of the backstage DLC. I'll have to go back and rewatch it and see how accurate I was back then. But yeah, that was my second ever theory video. That was, so it was very early on. But all theories are a stretch, to be fair. Red and Blue Kids are the baby chefs, in my opinion, right? I've actually seen that. I can't remember if it was the Overman that made a video surrounding that. Yeah, then they're definitely masks, right, Steph? Remember at the end of the VR game, there was a pile of music boxes implying there was a cycle of some sort. Maybe the raincoat has its own cycle of kids that wear. Yes, see, that's the idea of this poll. Hey, Aaron Cobb, thank you so much. Yeah, it has no eyes, right? We do know the fate of that boy then. Found him an intriguing character visible in a newspaper. Yes, because we see that boy is missing. He appears on missing posters in the Pale City. Oh, the notorious Bass. You beautiful, wonderful man. Thank you so much, you legend. Oh, what a guy. Thank you, Bass. I very much appreciate you, man. Let me get some big W eyeballs in the chat. I'm going to put you some eyeballs in there as well. My brother Bass. Oops. Where's my eyeballs? There they are. Gave you some eyeballs in the chat for our brother Bass. Massive W for you, brother. Thank you so much. Yeah, so this is my Little Nightmares archive, with all the different pictures and things like that in here. There's all sorts in here, by the way, so there will be a bit of everything. I'd love to go through this with you guys actually someday, like comb through the whole thing, because it's just got everything. Just anything I find even remotely interesting about the Little Nightmares universe has found its way into this folder in one way or another. So there's a good chance there is like newspaper clippings and all sorts in this that I've been like, combing over and just checking out old thumbnails, paintings, and there, there, Raincoat Girl. Not Raincoat. Well, yes, Raincoat Girl, but also CC. Also Flashlight Girl. I mean, these images alone. Echoes of the Nowhere submissions. This is the Echoes of the Nowhere folder, by the way. Dummies. God, there's so much. There's so much to see. Inspiration. YouTubes. These are PNGs from the videos that I've made in the past. Artworks. Character creation. Damn, I forget how extensive this file is. Badges and buttons. Damn. Bass, I really appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for that. Hey, the Overman, and Jord, and GKS, and the Oldest Nightmare, Clamori, Bookworm, Lefty, Des Langley, Friggy. These are all winners of my competitions. So the competitions I've held in the past where I've done giveaways and things like that, these are images of all the winners. Apart from Jord and the Overman. These were put there to... and GKS, I think these three were just... Oh, no, actually, most of these ones are people I've worked with. And then these ones are competition winners up here. Clamori, Bookworm, Lefty, Des Langley, and Friggy. I think there'll be more as well. Ooh, the Hunter. Teacher. Creator, Imaginator. Oh wow, this is sort of giving me nostalgia now. I haven't seen somebody. There's the first image I drew of the fireman. There's a North Wind. Dark 6. Wow. Sorry, chat. I've lost you guys, by the way. I have actually lost chat. Sorry, yeah. Because I don't even know what I'm. Oh, girl, a portrait of a girl. I'm gonna sneeze. Excusez-moi. Good grief, that was a big one. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. So there are some specific pictures that I'm looking for, and I know they're in here, but I really need... The reason I haven't done this stream where we go through it is because it's so disorganized. There's just everything everywhere all at the same time. Just like, yeah, I really need to, like, a lot of this stuff is unnecessary, and it's just, you know, there. But I feel like you guys would appreciate it if I was to organize it and go through the whole thing. Very much like the cutting room floor would be, where it's like all neatly organized and straightened out and stuff. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there. Anyway, where was I? Let me get back to chat, because base, but wait, there's more. Jesus Christ, my brother. All right, I'll double up your eyeballs then. There you go. My dude, thank you so much. Damn, you guys generous today. God. I don't have words. I never have words. I'm really... I suck at being generous because... I suck at being grateful because when people are generous to me, I'm like, what do I do? I don't deserve that. I didn't do anything. You know, I don't feel like I do anything to deserve people like yourselves who look after me in that way. But thank you so much. You are very much appreciated. He dropped some eyeballs in there as well. Oh, my days. Yes, W's. Big W's for the notorious bass. Idea, what if the lady and Raincoat Girl performed together, but the lady was the centre of attention? Maybe the puppeteer wanted Raincoat Girl to look perfect for the performance, and the lady statues her own merch. You know what? That's kind of a strange one, right? That implies a lot of humanity and a lot of actual emotion and feeling, which these guys could have, right? The lady is a very vain character, right? She spends a lot of time in the mirror, grooming herself and combing her hair, and she wears the porcelain mask to hide her appearance. And the puppeteer does something quite similar in that she will literally sit there and augment her own appearance, right? She's known as the perfect lady, and she will actively replace body parts when they become defunct, so that she constantly looks perfect. There was another thing that I wanted to show you guys. I'm struggling to remember what it was. It was something to do with this, though. Oh, I remember. Give me a second. It's in here. Where is it? Oh, there she is. Puppeteer's head. There's the notorious bass! There he is! It's our boy! That's the notorious bass! Look at his good look. God, he's a handsome guy. Damn, he is a good looking dude. Damn it, bass. I'm not leaving you on the screen for too long. I'll lose my audience to you. And there he is again! Yes! This guy. He doesn't know about that one, though. Excellent. Right. Okay. There is that. This is what I wanted you guys to see. This little screenshot here. So, you guys will notice that I've taken a screenshot of the yellow raincoat. And there was something else that stood out to me about this image. Do you know what I'm about to say? There's something I notice about this image. And I'm going to say something. Do you guys know what I'm about to say? Because I want to know if you guys have spotted the same thing I have before I say it. See a lot of things in the cutting room floor. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to it. I met Alone in VR, by the way. That's so cool. DM some screenshots. Looking forward to it, Step. Yes, lots of eyeballs in the chat. We like. I got some bless yous because I sneezed. Gemini, there was a secret messaging in Little Nightmares 1000. What did it say? Could it be useful information for theories? It said, why so curious? Stay curious. And there was some references in the game files as well to Alice in Wonderland. because the developers took a lot of inspiration from Alice in Wonderland and similar kind of works. But there was a quote from the Alice in Wonderland original novel. Base is super photogenic. It's basically a mugshot. Yeah, it might as well be, right? Right, it's a good job you're so handsome. Right? This is what I know. Hey, no worries, Reanimal Girl. I appreciate you stopping in. Same mannequins as ladies' quarters, not quite. Mono's trench coat was said to be there, but it's gone. Okay. So the thing I notice is that there are two mannequins. Now that is just like, well, whatever. There's a lot of mannequins in that room, but there's only two that are this big. One of them has a raincoat on. The other one doesn't. I love how this shadow here from this angle is like 6 and dark 6 like that. So like this raincoat here is right. If you stand on the left side of the raincoat over here, it shows right here. You can see the shadow and it looks like dark 6 and it frames the head quite perfectly. But also, does this potentially imply that there is more than one raincoat? Because there still is no real authentic explanation for why the raincoat appears in the Pale City. The girl in the yellow raincoat loses it after falling from the nest and being killed by the Pretender, and it floats away. And it was assumed at the end of that game, back then, that Six got on the raft, retrieved the raincoat, made her way to the mall. But that didn't happen. That's not the way it went, not canonically. Because Very Little Nightmares was the first game up until the backstage in 3. But then that was followed by Little Nightmares 2. And Six didn't have the raincoat in Little Nightmares 2 until she got to the Pale City. Right? So, it's either this was another raincoat that belonged to one of that belonged to the actor that played this one. So let me bring it back. This that belonged to this character or one of these characters. Okay, so this raincoat belongs to this person. Yeah, maybe. Now, it's assumed that these are all the same person, just wearing different masks. Yeah? And this person obviously has been an actor in the Carnival. Because the puppeteer is brushing her hair. And it's assumed that she's Raincoat Girl, right? I believe she's Raincoat Girl because she just looks like Raincoat Girl. And then there's the implications of the hot air balloons, the raincoat being visible here. It just all ties together a little bit too well, which is why I feel like the backstage did a great job of wrapping that story and putting it all together and setting us up with that, which is awesome. But, could there be more than one? Could there be more than one? It's possible, but also, Step could be right because the tan trench coat is also assumed to be there. Or at least in the Sounds of Nightmares it was implied to be there. And it's not. It's not in that room. Everything else is, or the majority of the other stuff is. You can see the velvet cape, you can see the doctor's coat, you can see the dummy on the desk and everything like that, and indeed the yellow raincoat. But this mannequin is bare, so the trench coat's missing. Could this be where the trench coat was? Because Six and Mono are the same size, roughly. So this could have housed Mono's raincoat. This could house Mono's trench coat, or it could house, or could have housed another raincoat that's missing at the moment, that somehow made its way to the Pale City, where Six ends up finding it, rather than making its way to the nest. Because there's more than one. And that might be this implication. That could be the implication here between these two artifacts. But also it could just be that this was Mono's mannequin. which has some pretty severe implications of its own. But anyway, let me get back to our chat. The trench coat's missing. Yeah, see, Step knows how it is because that's what Step suggested a minute ago. Can you please show them the dime? Oh, yeah, I will show them the dime you drew, because Catsy drew a picture of dime, and it was dope. It's so good. I'm going to bring it up in a minute. Noon said there was a raincoat and a trench coat. Yes, so that could very well be it, because she did say there was a tan trench coat in there. So, yeah, I think Step is probably right about that. I think that both theories have merit, and I don't think you can disparage either one. But, yeah. But then it's like, well, what was Mono doing there? And could it be that all the children end up in the carnival? And yeah, that's a great question, Avanzi. Why is it missing? Right? Why is it missing? Where did it go? Wayne, thank you. Happy birthday, Gemini. I hope you had a great day. Thank you for your support. Hey, anytime. No problem at all, Wayne. I very much appreciate you. And I appreciate the happy birthday. I am having a wonderful day. Thank you. A little late. Hey, no worries. McDonald's, don't worry about it. You are not late, and I very much appreciate you. You're not late to wish me a happy birthday. It's still my birthday, and I still very much appreciate your thoughts. Maybe in the second DLC we'll see the girl, the yellow raincoat. I hope so. I hope so. I hope we do. I hope we do get more tie-ins like that, because that was my favourite part of the backstage DLC. Was that room where she's brushing the hair of the pigtail girl. Maybe Mono also was in the backstage, but not too long before Raincoat Girl. Maybe. That's the thing. It's not there. And I think the trench coat. I think it's a trench coat since there's a reason for it being the only clothing piece that's missing, right? Mono could already be in his time loop. Yeah, he could very well already be on his journey. Sitting in my parents' back garden watching your stream right now. Hello to Catsy's brother and Catsy's mum. And thank you for taking care of her. I very much appreciate that. She said that she's not been feeling very well recently, and she's staying with you guys, and you guys are taking good care of her. And I appreciate that. It's nice to know that she's being looked after. Which, of course, I'm sure you do all the time perfectly well. I know that sounded really weird. But, yes, I'm grateful for your support. Happy birthday, Gem. Hey, thank you, Andy Man. I appreciate that. I'm glad you made it too. Sorry if this sounds rude, but I don't think I really believe this theory that much about... No, Stinkles, that's absolutely fine. You don't have to worry if you say, like, it doesn't sound rude, right? What you're doing is exactly what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to question everything. If I theorize that something like... if I make a theory like there could be two raincoats, you don't have to agree with it because I said it. You know, I am not an authority figure on the Little Nightmares universe. I know as much as everybody else. I'm not a developer. I don't work for Bandai. I'm just obsessed with the franchise like you. It is not rude of you to question what I say. In fact, you're supposed to. Step has done that just now by disagreeing with me. Step has said he doesn't believe it was a raincoat. He thinks it was Mono's trench coat. And Step is probably right, because that is a very accurate analysis that I'd overlooked, right? And I might not have considered that if Step didn't bring it up. You're allowed to disagree. You are encouraged to disagree. You don't have to be mean, right? You're not being mean or being rude or anything. You could say you're an idiot, Jerry. Like I've had those. Like I had those in the comments section where people are like, "You're so stupid. I hope you die." You know, Reanimal's way better than Little Nightmares anyway, and you suck and you're ugly, and I hope your kids are born deformed, and just like people that really get really upset with me. Right? That's fine. You know, they can do that if they want to. I don't really care. I don't have time for it. But you're allowed to disagree. Like Step before. Me and Step have talked at length about that image of law that I talked about, that one that I compared to this picture. I said that I'd found this in the Vault of Curiosities in the Carnival. I said to Step, I found it, and I sent him a picture, and Step said, "I'm sorry, Gem, no you didn't." And he was right. He was correct to point that out. It wasn't rude. It's the same with somebody named Ritronian. I made a theory video, the third theory video I think I ever made, called the dialect theory, where I explored the concept of reading in dreams and tried to apply it to the language spoken in the nowhere. This dialect, this kind of stuff here that you see on all of the, these posters, right? Trying to decipher this, right? And I was trying to figure that out, and I was like, there is no legible text in the nowhere. And I said that in my theory video, and then one of the first comments that came through was from somebody called Ritronian, who was absolutely correct in saying there is legible text in the nowhere if you look at the soap. In the soap has the word palm written on it in plain English. Also, in Very Little Nightmares, there is a book that has the word maw written on, M-A-W, very plain, like not written in nowhere speak like this. It's written M-A-W, maw. So there is legible text. Also, the janitor's name tag. Now, I knew about the name tag being legible, and it made me think that that's what made me believe that the janitor wasn't born in the nowhere. I believed that the janitor came from outside of the nowhere. And I think he might have worked in a place, like a school or something like that. He gives me very Freddy Krueger vibes. The creepy, excuse me, like the creepy janitor that probably had some like sinister goings on behind closed doors. Because obviously you'd have to be really messed up to get an invitation to the nowhere in the first place. So I suspected that adults were brought from the real world into the nowhere for being messed up enough, like for being very, very bad people. And I suspected that Roger was one of them. And Roger's name tag was the only bit of legible text I'd ever seen. So I built a theory around it and used it to prove, or at least substantiate, that adults are brought from the counties rather than being born in the nowhere. And I used Roger's name tag as evidence to support this. And while I was correct on that part, what I was incorrect on was the fact that that's the only legible text, because I was wrong. And Ritronian pointed that out in the comment section, and people attacked him. They were like, "Oh, you killjoy, you suck, like, why can't you just let us have some fun?" And I was like, no, that's not what he's saying. He's disagreeing with me, yeah, and he's proved me wrong, which sucks. Because as a theorist, you'd like to be right about everything, but that's the point. He disagreed, and he was correct. Stepp disagreed with me about this particular subject, and Stepp was correct. You're allowed to ask the questions you're supposed to. It's like, we can't break it down. If you just say that everything Jem says is gospel and he's right about everything he ever suspects, then It's Just Jord would be like a mind reader. Because that's the way I used to see Just Jord. I used to read Just Jord's theories and agree with everything he said. Absolutely everything he said. Because he said it with conviction and he offered substance, and it sounded believable because he tied it in ways that made logical sense from an analytical perspective. And as a theorist, I was inspired by that and thought it was great. But is Just Jord right about everything? No, absolutely not. But it's still great content, and Jord wouldn't be opposed to us disagreeing with him because it's part of theorizing. You're allowed to. You're not being rude. I know that was a massive tangent about, I know I just went off on a massive tangent, and I've like trailed on for ages about that. But my point is, I don't want any of you guys to feel uncomfortable disagreeing with me. If you have your own thoughts and theories, observations and speculations, voice them. That's why we're here. We're all collected in this room together. You will not upset me if you disagree with me. You'll upset me if you're mean. If you come in and say, "Jem, you suck, and I hope you die because your theory was incorrect, and I disagree with it," then that just makes you really horrible. But, by you saying, "Jem, I don't think I agree with this theory about the raincoat," that doesn't make you mean. It might make you right. It might just be something I've overlooked or neglected to consider. Please don't feel rude. You're absolutely, your point is just as valid as everybody else's. Maybe in a hot air balloon. Yes, Evan, yeah, exactly. Because this is the implication, right? The Raincoat Girl could have escaped from the carnival in the hot air balloon, and that's how she crashes into the nest. That's the implication. That's why I really like that tie-in, because that makes logical sense chronologically. Happy birthday, thank you, Benjita Craft. I'm just going to call you Craft. because I can't pronounce your the first part of your name. I am sorry. There's dozens of bald monos in Little Nightmares 3 carnival cages in the elevator room after the mannequin chase. Yeah, I've seen a couple of bald characters as well. I've seen a bald dime as well, and that was funny. Speaking of which, let me just change over my camera real quick back to this one while I open up, because I've got to open my Discord because I want to share this picture that Catsy drew, and it is absolutely dope. And I feel like you guys could see it. I actually have it saved in my archive, but you guys have just seen the size of my archive. It's so ridiculously enormous that it'll take me forever to find it when I could literally just pull it up on Discord very quickly. There it is. And save. Dime. One. There. This. Switch it back. And where did it go? I just saved it on my desktop, did I not? There you go. Look at this thing. Look at her. Look at her. Look at how good that is. She's so cute. Oh, broken and damaged in the Nexus. So she's got the Nexus area here and the little lights on there, and she added the glow after effects, the little teardrops to add the feel. Oh, it's just so good. It's so feelsy, right? The color scheme, the palette and everything. It's just wonderful. Look at this. This is magnificent work. I really, really like this drawing. And I wanted to save it and share it with you guys because I thought you guys would appreciate it too, because look at how good that is. Look at some eyeballs in the chat for Kit Kat Catsy's drawing of Dime. Absolutely dope. Look at the character model for the Spoon Girl. It looks just like the girl who's getting her hair, but it does. It's very similar, but they're not quite the same. I did look them up, and I've run a comparison between the two of them. I watched Just George's video where he does like a big zoom in, and did my live just die? No, I don't think it did. I think my phone did. 1 second, guys. I do apologise. I just need to make sure that I still have internet. I do still have internet. We're still alive. We're alive. We live. It lives. All right, good stuff. Sorry, I thought I died there. But yeah, so this is Catsy's work. And I think it's brilliant, and I really, really like it. And this is the style, if you guys don't know, this is the style that our new DLC video is going to be drawn in, because this is like the traditional Kit Kat Catsy art style. Who's to say that the Flashlight Girl isn't wearing the raincoat when we see her in the DLC? Anyway, but because she isn't the main protagonist, she's darkened so that we can focus on her, on RK. No, she's not. And I only say that because I literally took the camera out of bounds and walked her under the light and looked at her, and she's wearing a nightgown. I've got a picture of her. I have a picture of her saved somewhere in the archive. Again, I'm not going to spend forever combing through it, but if I've still got this random folder, Flashlight Theory, there. This is Flashlight Girl. See? Oh, and you guys can't really see past my face, but yeah, there, and this. That's Flashlight Girl. This is the actual character model of Flashlight Girl, and this is the image of the girl that we see in the yellow raincoat. And yeah, and there she is in the yellow raincoat, right here. So there is her, and there is her. See, they are the same. They're literally the same character concept, same person. So yeah, that's that. She's not wearing the raincoat in the DLC, in the Depths DLC. She's wearing this like tattered nightdress sort of thing that we see her depicted in that image. There, she's wearing this. I see why you might think that. But I checked. What are these? Oh yeah, the drawings. So these drawings here are what I based my hunger video on. What did you guys think of that, by the way? So that narration that I did for the story Hunger, I'd really like to know what you guys think of that too, because I worked really hard on that and I thought it was fun to do. I'd probably like to explore more topics like it. Hmm. Theorizing. Verb. The act of making an educated guess because you freaking love Little Nightmares. Yep, facts. Well done, Mochi. Yeah, absolutely, right? Absolutely amazing. Hunger was amazing. Thank you, Vibe Check Man. I really appreciate that. Or shoot, they're identical. Yeah, right. And that as well. Step. I don't know if you've seen my flashlight theory video, but it's also that the shadow of that character is the gnome you find in the hideaway. So there's several gnomes in the hideaway, and you shine your flashlight over them, and you can see that they used to be children, right? It's implied that the shadows of the gnomes are of the children that have gone missing. And if you go to the leftmost side of the screen and shine your flashlight at the gnome on the left furthest side, it's got it's her shadow. It's literally the shadow of that particular character. It's her shadow there. Now again, that doesn't this character model specifically, because of how early this was in the development of Little Nightmares as a whole, as a universe, like as an IP, the fact that they have to reuse these assets, it doesn't mean just because they used this particular child in those particular circumstances doesn't imply that all of these series are correct. Just because it also could very well be down to the fact that it was just limits of video game creativity, right? Video game development. They only have so many assets they can use. That's why, even though there's like hundreds of children on the mall, the majority of them just use Runaway Kid's character model, or Flashlight Girl's character model, because you don't get a good enough look at them to identify them or to be able to tell them apart from one another. You don't focus on them too well. That's the idea. They're supposed to blend into the background as just one of one of a random. Sorry, I keep distracting myself. So it's the same as Resident Evil. When you play the original Resident Evil game, you kill about 1,000 zombies, but there's only 4 different character models. There's only 4 different zombies, right? But you kill hundreds of them. But that's not to imply that the zombies aren't all different people, because they were once upon a time all actual real people. The children on the mall are the same. And the fact that our heroes and the children in the nowhere are very, very individual. You can tell Law from Mono, from Alone, from Six, from New. They all look very markedly different because they are so very distinct. And that's by design. They're supposed to be distinct, so they stand out against the other characters. That's why when you play Resident Evil, your character doesn't just look like a zombie, right? So all the zombies, they kind of blend into one another because they're just like a uniform enemy. The same as the children in the nowhere, from a gameplay development standpoint, are like a uniform people, right? But so it doesn't imply that this is wrong. But I never like theorizing about stuff from a game development standpoint, because then it's really, really easy to prove and disprove stuff just with game logic, right? Um, so it's like the leech. When you run into the leech after losing Flashlight Girl, so Flashlight Girl goes missing, you pick up her flashlight and she's missing, and you follow her footsteps and you run straight into a leech. And it's implied that the leech ate that girl. Now, is that canon? From a game development standpoint, it could absolutely be. It could absolutely be. Because, why would you change it? You don't need to change the values of the leech. It's just like, she got to this point and she disappeared. But there's a leech there. So she got eaten by the leech. Problem solved. Okay? That makes sense. But from a theorist standpoint, if you're looking at it canonically from a story perspective in universe, as if it's not a game, as if it's real, and we're really considering it and deep diving into it, it could be implied, well, the leech didn't get her because the leech was smaller than she was. So if the leech had eaten her, it would presumably be very fat, right? The leech would have a different model. It'd look huge because it'd be like after a snake eats a rather large animal. If a snake eats a deer, you can tell, right? So if the leech was to have swallowed a child twice as big as itself, the leech's design would have changed. It would be fatter. If you go by a purely game development standpoint, the game doesn't need to explain why the leech didn't change size, other than the game developers only have one model for the leeches. So they just used that. Right? And they didn't want to go to the extent as an indie studio of developing this entire thing to explain one arbitrary background character that nobody, nobody might actually care about. But I like explaining things from from a more like in universe method, rather than just saying, oh, because game development or because limitations. Thank you, Steph. Video was amazing. I felt like I was in the mall. The boy was explaining it to me how vivid it was. Ah, that's good. Hunger was awesome. Headcanon for me now. I love how he brought the other kids for the concept art. Thank you, Mochi. There was a lot of work that went into that. Just even it. So like, just for those of you guys that are here now, I'm going to give you a quick spoiler warning. As far as that goes, so. Oh no, not that one. That's not what I needed. There you go. So spoiler warning for those of you who haven't watched my hunger video, and if you intend to, that's this one, by the way. That's the thumbnail for it. I narrate a story that surrounds a couple of visitors from the nowhere that we don't get to see explored at any point. And I cannot believe that I don't have a screenshot of them still saved on my screen. That's irritating. But the kids that we see in the eye that you have to avoid as 6 by hiding behind the bed, and there's 4 characters that are frozen around it. I explain the story of how those characters got there between the Depths DLC and 6's storyline. And I tie it into another character. Right at the very end, you find out who that character is, and I hope you guys enjoy it. I really hope you do. I did work really hard on that one, so it's cool. Hunger was outstanding, really captured the atmosphere so well. I never noticed the bed frame wasn't there until Arcade went past it. Yeah, exactly. And you know what, Indy Man? The reason I was able to explain that is because when I was looking at that area, the bed frame is there when you run through as the boy. When you run through as Runaway Kid, the bed frame is there, but it's not on the floor in front of the eye. It's on the upper deck outside his room. And when you go back at 6, that bed is not there, implying that between Runaway Kid leaving that room and 6 arriving at that room, that bed frame was moved from there to in front of the eye, presumably by the children who are frozen around it. And that is what the story of Hunger sort of culminates in, how that short span happened. The whole thing happens in like one area, kind of thing. It's basically like that. That's what was hard about making that story develop. It was like a 40 to 45 minute narration based on an area that's like 30 square feet. It's all based in the same room, pretty much. It's all based in the same space. Uh-oh. My chat died. Refresh. Can I refresh? Come back, chat. There you go. There's more than one ring because the lady wore one in the past, right? We can see the photos of a young her in the quarters. Can't be 6 or anyone else because the lady is so vain. Potentially, ironically edgy, potentially. There could very well be more than one raincoat, and it could very well have belonged to the lady. In fact, if the time loop thing works in the same way it did for Mono in Little Nightmares 2 as the Thin Man, and the implications of the Little Nightmares Altered Echoes VR to be believed, where there's so many music boxes, implying that Six is stuck in a constant loop as well. It could be that Six goes from Six becoming Monster Six to dissociating from herself to heading to the Maw, taking over the Maw, becoming the lady, and then Six comes in, kills the lady, and remits the cycle again. And if that's the case, if there's that many music boxes, there could also be that many raincoats. So, and we might find raincoats scattered all over the place because it could very well be implied that there's that many. Oh, something cool. Something cool just came to my mind. Consider this. We see that there are several not raincoats. We see that there's several music boxes, implying that Six has done this cycle a whole bunch of times, right? And we find that raincoat in the Pale City, but there was also the raincoat on the nest that was lost by the girl in the yellow raincoat when she dies to the Pretender, and that implies that two separate people lost two separate raincoats in two separate areas. Could it be that it was the girl in the yellow raincoat both times, but she just lost it at different points because she doesn't always die at the same point? Could that explain why we see a lot of repeating items throughout the Nowhere? Could it be why we see the hunter's stuff in his cabin, but we also see it in the Vault of Curiosities, like his family, for instance? We get to see the hunter's family, his hat, his gun, his moose, the things that we see in the hunter's cabin. If this takes place before, like all of this stuff from the Vault of Curiosities, canonically is supposedly taking place before Little Nightmares 2 and the events of Little Nightmares 2. So if that's the case, what's the hunter's stuff doing here? Presumably, if the hunter's still alive during Little Nightmares 3, what's all his stuff doing in the Vault of Curiosities? Why is it here? Right? How did it get here? And it could be that there are just several versions of it. There's a lot of bear traps. There could be a lot of we actually see the hunter's family also in the Little Nightmares of ER. When we encounter the naturalist, the photographer guy, the hunter's family are in his room as well. They're in there in his mansion. There's are there several, are there just lots and lots and lots of the same item? Like we see lots of dolls, right? It's the toys. And I know the toys are easier to explain. There's stuff like we see the same doll in Six's room. When you go in to see Monster Six, there's a doll with a melted face, and that took place before the Maw. But then when we go to the Maw, we see the same doll with the same melted face, and again, that could just boil down to purely game design. Game design and aesthetic and the limitations of game development in general. But if we're thinking from an in-canon perspective, then it would stand to reason that because the time doesn't really work or function properly in the Nowhere. I actually found a functional clock also, by the way. In the Nowhere, in the Backstage DLC, there is a functional clock. It's 3 o'clock and the minute hand is ticking by at 1 minute per second. And it goes all the way around, but the hour never changes. At least for the sorry, I shouldn't swear. But at least for the 12 minutes I stood there staring at the thing waiting to see if it actually did anything. But it was the only example of a functional clock that I'd ever seen in the Nowhere. So it was strange. It was bizarre to see. No. Step. I mean higher up. I know RK's room and Six's aren't on the same floor. I understand that. But it's so the bed frame is missing. The bed frame does move. So the story starts. It's really hard to explain this without the thing on the screen. I kind of want to do it. You are right, but I know. And I took account of that, and so it takes place over 3 floors. So there's 3 higher floors like that. So it's so hard to do without having the game open so that I can explain it to you. But yeah, so the runaway kid and the main character from my Hunger story start in runaway kid's room, which is further up. It's further up where the bed frame is. And then you go to the next floor down, and that's the room that 6 goes in. That's the room where 6 goes in. There isn't a bed frame outside of there. That's the room where we first meet the janitor, and it's also the room where we see the janitor come out of as the runaway kid, because we look down and we see that area where janitor catches a runaway child and takes them back. And then the lower floor, the floor below that, is the one with the eye on it, right? But the bed frame is on the top floor where we come out of as runaway kid, and where the kid in my story comes out of as well. Yes, that one. There you go. There you go. I promise I accounted for it, because I did make one mistake when I was writing it, and I was so frustrated because I was about 70% of the way through the script, and when I went in to check something, I went in to check the canonicity of something. I was like, just making sure I got the time frame right, and I recognized that I'd made a mistake really early on in the story that made me have to completely rewrite like 30% of the script, and I was so mad. I told Notorious Bass about it. I was furious because he's messaging me about some work that we were doing on a project together, and he's just like, "You all right?" And I'm like, "No, I'm furious," because I was so mad because I'd spent so long writing this script, and because of one very simple oversight. I had to go back in. So when I rewrote it, I traced that entire room twice. I drew it out. I took screenshots of every floor, every corner. I searched everything. I checked the timeline. I played through the section as both characters probably 12 times each to make sure that I got everything absolutely spot on. There will still be some inconsistencies because I had to take some creative liberties, but I tried to leave everything exactly as it was so that it would make canonical sense from a chronological standpoint, as if the adventure was taking place between Runaway Kid leaving the room and 6 arriving at the room later on. That's the point it takes place from. My adventure starts, so when I started writing Hunger, it starts when Runaway Kid leaves the room. And we see him leave the room, and he's like, "Oh, right, we'll follow him." And we get to see him leave and go off with Flashlight Girl. He disappears, our story begins. And our story continues, and it ends when 6 experiences her first bout of hunger. That's the timeline. I always like to imagine 6 managed to break her cycle by refusing to become a part of them all. She's a rebel to the end, Mono gave in to the system while she fought against it. Yeah, exactly, Edgy. That's quite a good analogy, actually, because the implication at the end of the game is that she left, because I know that when she walks out of the maw, she has the lady's powers, so it's implied that, she leaves the maw, but she's stuck on it. She walks outside into the blazing sunshine and realizes, "Oh crap, I'm on a floating island in the middle of the ocean. I've got no way home. I might as well stay, become the lady, and take over this place with my new special powers." But when you press the A button at the end of Little Nightmares 1, we hear a foghorn. The implication being that there is a ship on the way to the maw, and she could use that ship to leave, which she might. We don't know, because as far as we know, that's the last point we've ever seen. The last thing we ever see canonically in the Little Nightmares universe is 6 leaving the maw, but we don't know if she leaves or not. It's just implied that she could if she wanted to, but we don't know because they've never actually confirmed it. Kin stole these things, I believe. Yeah, see, I always thought that it was implied that the kin and the minikin were like collectors of sorts, or at least someone on there was. I know that the kin and the minikin are like in charge of the carnival and therefore in charge of procuring that entire area. It also makes me wonder about the librarian sort of person that we see, or at least the character that we see in the backstage who's in the library and he's dead in his chair because he's been poisoned. Presumably by Dime. I think Dime killed him, by the way. I think Dime killed that dude. But yeah, anyway, so he could be like an archivist of some description, and that's where all the books could be. There could be references to all this stuff that he goes around collecting in his massive vault. I just had a little nightmare. What's up? Runaway Cobra, what was your nightmare about? Tell us. If you don't tell us, you're sure to forget altogether. Yes. Yes, that bed frame. In the room with the eye, that bed frame. Multitasking here, trying to watch Gemini stream while also playing fetch with the dog. New theory for timeline. I remember seeing a portrait of a girl with the lady mask in the backstage DLC. What if the lady started out as carnival escapes to the mall and usurps the previous lady? Could be, because again, there's pictures on the mall that imply that the lady is not the first lady, right? She's one of a series of ladies. We see a picture of her stood amongst 5 of her peers. Mutant plants. You know, getting kind of worried about all this weird time stuff is starting to do. I don't want the franchise to become like FNAF where you are. Yeah, so that is a concern of mine, Vibe Checkman, because the issue with having time paradoxes cooked and baked into your franchise is that you can essentially retcon everything, which is great from a creator's standpoint because it means that they can do whatever they like. They can make up anything. They can make anything fit any storyline, any narrative. You know, it just makes sense. And if it doesn't, they just reset the timeline. It's the same as like I sort of lost interest in Marvel films after time travel became a thing. Not because they're not great, because like Marvel is a big budget studio and they're all superheroes and villains that we love and everything like that, and that's great. But the whole the whole time travel concept means that there's no risk anymore. Like there is literally no there's no threat, there's no issue, there's no problem. Like there never will be ever again. Because if there ever is, it's like, oh no, the world's gonna end. Oh cool, better rewind. You know, it's like dying in a video game. We'll just respawn. You know, you just hit the reset button. You just keep doing it. You keep doing it until it fits the narrative. You just keep doing it. You keep trying. Like Doctor Strange saw 13,000,005 different endings, and just picked the one he wanted. It's the same as I could do. If I really wanted Six to be the lady, then I would just keep on, and time travel was a thing, and the time loop theory was a thing, and like linear time isn't actually a thing of any value within the nowhere, and I was a creative developer in the Little Nightmares franchise. It's like my safety blanket, right? I could literally just say, people could argue, well, it doesn't make sense canonically, and I'd be like, oh yes it does, because time travel. You know, and you just, because it does, and it will, and it has to, because you could write it so. And I know again that's one of the wonders of being a creative developer, but I also think it's a bit of a cop out. So I'm hoping that they don't lean too much into the time travel aspect. I know it shouldn't be like a focal point of it anyway. It's not supposed to make sense. It's supposed to keep us asking questions, and like the amount of like understanding of quantum physics you would need to effectively explain the timeline in Little Nightmares is unfathomable. So I'm not going to pretend like I'm in any position to understand it, and I'm not going to disparage the creators and the developers from using that kind of aspect because it's what keeps us asking questions, and that's the whole point. Sure, don't tell. They don't want us to have all the answers. If we had all the answers, we wouldn't theorize about it. So none of us would be sitting here talking about it today. What would be the point? You know, we'd have all the answers because it would make sense. I do like to make sense of things because it scratches the itch in my autistic brain where it's like, I need to know exactly what's going to happen and why this makes sense. And, you know, but I like being able to make it, even if I have to make it make sense in my own mind through theories and headcanon, I can do that. But if you throw time travel into the mix, I can never do that. Ever, because it just doesn't make sense. Even if I believe it with my heart and soul and I can provide evidence to substantiate it, that evidence might not stand in an alternative timeline, which they can make up tomorrow if they so desired. Brother Tibbs is in the chat. Can't believe you didn't tell me it was your birthday. I feel like a right worry about present. Brother Tibbs, it does not matter. My birthday is highly unimportant to me. I just I've had a brilliant day. I've got to do everything I wanted to do. I went to see my mum and dad. I had a lovely dinner. I got nice gifts and cake. And now I'm here chilling with my community and talking about Little Nightmares franchise that I hold very dear to my heart. And I have the day off work. I couldn't be happier. I don't need gifts and donations and all the rest of it. They're very much appreciated, but honestly, do not worry. My brother, my literal, real life brother, has not wished me a happy birthday. And I don't care because we're grown ass men. We're grown men. He is he's a full grown man with his own family, his own worries, his own concerns, and the fact that he hasn't had the time or the memory capacity to wish me a happy birthday does not play on my mind. I'm only mentioning it now because it's like, if I don't care that my brother didn't say it, why would I care that you didn't? It's not a big deal. Honestly, doesn't matter. If it means anything to you, you're forgiven, but you don't need forgiving. I don't care. I appreciate you stopping it. Besides, you didn't. You said it now. You've recognised it. You said it now. I don't need you to get me something. I don't need you to give me a gift. I don't need to wait until you get paid. You've said happy birthday. You came in and showed me support. That's all I needed, my brother. I appreciate you very much. Also, Katsy, Mama Gem is absolutely fine. She's doing really, really well. She's been in a really good mood today. She was up and she was active, and we all had this. My dad made a big homemade Chinese for us, and she was smashing it. I was so proud of her. It was lovely. We had a really nice little day together. Mm. Wait, the devs just said that six did escape the mall. Well, this is the thing. At the end of the game, you see her leave the mall. Right? She walks out of the doors and she's out. She's free. She's killed the lady. She murdered all the guests, and she's out there with superpowers. So she presumably is in a position to leave if she wants to. And but the thing is, she has nowhere to go because she's still on the mall, which is a floating vessel in the middle of the ocean. She doesn't have anywhere to go, so she can't leave. So the implication is she either stays and takes over the mall because she has the power to do so now, or she gets on a ship. Because again, when we close out to restart the game and go in and play it again, there's a sound of a foghorn that can be heard in the distance. So it could be taken one or two ways. Because when the screen goes black, Six did one or two things. She either went back into the mall and started running it for herself, or she got on the ship and she got the hell out of Dodge. And I don't know. Nobody does. And it has never been explained. To be honest, I have enough trust in Supermassive not to mess the franchise, though. I don't think it'll do it. Yeah, I agree, McDonald's. I do agree because I did have my doubts. Because when I first heard that Supermassive were taking over the Little Nightmares franchise, I was very nervous. I had like massive anxiety because I'd played Supermassive's games before, and there were them story-driven narrative storylines like the Dark Descent, not Dark Descent. What is it? Dark Anthologies franchise, sorry. So like Man of Medan and or Man of Medan, whatever it was called, or however you pronounce it, and stuff like that. And I didn't really like them. I did. I liked the games, I liked the concepts, but I hated the characters. The whole idea of those games is that you learn about the characters and you try and save them all. You try and make the decisions throughout the game to save all the characters. That is the aim of the game. That's the point. And I hated every single one of them. I couldn't find a single likable character throughout the thing, and I don't know why. Maybe that's more a reflection of me than anything else. But I felt it was just like the dialogue was like really cheesy and hard to follow and hard to take seriously. So even as good as like the monster design was in like the what was it called? The after until not until dawn. Was it until dawn? Could have been until dawn. Where they've got like vampires, and the vampire creature is awesome. It was such an awesome character. Such a brilliant monster concept, and you have this ancient Mayan temple and everything like that. It was really cool, and the concept was brilliant. The monster design was brilliant, but the characters, I was just like, I just want them all to die. I want them all to get trapped in this underground facility in Iraq and get eaten by vampires. I don't care about these people. I found it really difficult to love any of the characters or care about the storyline. I just liked looking at the monsters. So when it was announced that Supermassive were going to be doing Little Nightmares, I was like, well, it's cool because I get that they're going to have the lore Bible to go by, but I'm scared that they're going to start trying to introduce these new narratives and storylines that they've done in previously existing games, and I didn't trust them because I hadn't had great experiences of it before. But then I played Little Nightmares 3, and I think they nailed it. There was a lot they could have improved on, but they listened. They took that into account. They took on board the criticism, and they went in and they refined it, and they renewed a lot of it. They've listened to other creators. They've worked with creators like Just Jord, and they've listened to what Terrico had to say when he gave his criticisms of the game, which weren't completely unfounded either. Terrico was right in a lot of his criticisms. I have my own criticisms about Little Nightmares 3. Was it perfect? No. But was it a bad game? No. I don't think they ruined it. I think it was their first shot at doing something like this based on a creative IP that they didn't originally own. They didn't make it, but I think they did I think they did a fantastic job when they finally got the reins, and they took on board the criticism. They listened to what everybody had to say, and then they came back with a renewed sense of we can do this, and they gave it another shot, and they gave us the backstage, and they nailed it. They nailed it, and it's perfect. It's absolutely brilliant. And now that's restored my faith in Supermassive and Bandai as a studio to develop this franchise into what it's supposed to be and keep us all on board with it. And if the Shaws, and again with Altered Echoes was great. Altered Echoes, absolutely fantastic. A brilliant direction for the game and a fantastic tie-in. It's a shame that I didn't get to play it for myself, and that's my only that would be my only criticism, is the fact that it's VR only. I would love a flat version so I can play it, because otherwise it's going to cost me over £500 to play one game. I have no desire to purchase a VR headset other than to play Altered Echoes. That's it, and then I'd sell it. There'd be no reason for it. But that's my only criticism. But the game itself was great, and so was Little Nightmares 3, with with a couple of caveats here and there, and the backstage was just like illuminating. I thought it was excellent, and I'm hoping that they carry on the same thing with the Shaws when they follow it up inevitably. I'm very, very excited. Well, thank you for the happy birthday. Am I the only one who has dyslexia here? I do not have dyslexia. I don't know if anybody else does, Sasha. I used to have a friend with dyslexia, and I used to have to read to her. Because she couldn't read off white paper. She needed yellow or cream paper for the words to sort of gel and make sense. But reading off pure white, she couldn't do it, and she always thought she was really dumb. And she didn't know she was dyslexic for years. She had no diagnosis. She just thought she was stupid. And she came to me one day with a work contract. She just got a new job, and she had to sign a contract, and it said, had all these rules. Sign this, do this, tell this. And she came to me and she was really upset, and I was like, what does this say? And I read it to her, and I'm reading it and I'm thinking, this is really simple, basic stuff. And I was like, does this not make sense to you? And she started to cry, and she's like, I can't read it. And I was like, what do you mean you can't read it? It's very simple. She's like, no, I physically cannot read it. It might as well be written in Chinese. I don't know what it says. I was like, you're not dumb. You're dyslexic. And she's like, I don't think I am, because I can read this. And she showed me a book that she can read, and it was written. It's like an old school yellow pages sort of thing. She's like, I can read this, and I was like, yeah, exactly. Well, this is that word. This says discrepancy. This says discrepancy. And she's like, oh, it doesn't look like it to me. And I was like, because you're dyslexic. You're not dumb. And she went to the doctors and ended up getting a diagnosis. Turns out she just can't read off white paper. It's crazy. Yeah, a lot of autistic folks in the chat today. Big up to the neurodivergent community. Gem, Dark Six costume, DEC... desk confirms that Six left the mall. Does it? Explain. Step, explain that to me, because I don't know if I'm just misinterpreting what you've said, but Dark Six costume confirms that Six left the mall. Now, I believe that personally. I think that she left the mall, or at least I think in one of these particular timelines she could have. Oh, description, of course. Yeah, in the description. Oh, did you? Okay, thank you. Yeah, please feel free to expand on that for everybody else as well, Step. But I am going to go back and read that description and find out exactly what you're referring to. But if you want to explain it, then please do as well. Such a wholesome community. That's right. Yeah, exactly. I'm sorry, I can't say your name. Iloloxel. Iloloxel. Axolotl. I'm going to call you Lottie. Axolotl. But yes, a very wholesome community, and this is what I love about it. That's why I wanted to spend my birthday with you guys doing this, because we all care about each other and we all care about Little Nightmares, and we're all sharing that's why I love doing what I do. I like the fact that me being here hosting this stream is enough to bring everybody together in a way so that we can all connect over something we all find collectively valuable, and we can share our thoughts and opinions and speculations and observations and just our passions, our OCs, our original stories and our original universes and things like that, our head canons, and we could share it with people that also find it valuable, and we'll treat it with the respect it deserves. It's nice. Communities like this one are responsible for maintaining the lifeblood of the Little Nightmares franchise. If it wasn't for communities like this one and just George's community, Terrico's community, Horror Mike's community, Overman's community, GKS's community, like people like that actively create content surrounding Little Nightmares and actively discuss it and take part in the competitions and engage with the posts and join the discords and things like that, all of those contributions are what keep it alive. Like, there's so much to do with it that people take off their own back. They create artworks and write stories, make videos and theorize, and that's why it's still alive nearly 10 years later. It exists because of communities like this one, and I think that's wonderful. Oh, yeah, forgot England were playing. I don't watch football. I don't even watch the World Cup. For me, the World Cup isn't great news because, like, I get why people enjoy it. Again, that's their own community doing their own thing, and they're brought together by something that they all collectively love and enjoy, and that's fine. And again, it's wonderful. But for me, it just invites a lot of drunk people, and people in my town tend to drink a lot, do a lot of drugs, and then conduct themselves violently, whether stuff goes right or wrong. So even if England win the World Cup, there will still be riots on my street. Even if we win, windows will get broken, shops will get looted, people will get robbed, there'll be fights and people getting beaten up. Like, it'll just happen. It sucks, and it makes me, like, I don't want to go outside anyway. I'm a very introverted person, so I don't like going outside. But if I have to go outside on match day, like, I went for a job interview once in a town called Leicester during the World Cup. And unfortunately for me, at the time, the England team were staying in a hotel in Leicester at the same time I was on the same weekend. And there was so much violence. Like, there was a lot of it. Don't get me wrong. There was just a lot of people supporting their team and having a good time. They were having a drink and they were celebrating, but there was so numerous and there was so much intoxication that everyone was just drunk and violent and noisy, and I didn't like it. So I just shut myself in the hotel. I didn't see any of Leicester, other than, like, the city of Leicester. All I saw was the train station and the hotel and the place I went to have an interview, and that was it. That's all. Because I wanted to go out and see the shops. I wanted to go shopping and get something to eat and explore a city that I'd never seen before. I just didn't dare, because every time I looked outside there was a fight, or like drunken people, or somebody passed out in a hallway outside my room. It sucked, and it was all because, oh well, it's the World Cup, oh well, football's on, and I was like, oh, God's sake. So I've never been a massive fan of football, because for me, um, a lot of violence comes from overconsumption of alcohol and an overindulgence in, like, groups of people partaking in the consumption of alcohol. I'm not opposed to it. If you want to drink, have a drink. If you want to enjoy football, enjoy football. But it comes with the territory that during the World Cup people are loud and drunk and violent, and I'm subject to it whether I'm involved in the football or not. So I just don't like it. I know, like, I'm going to find out who's going to win. I don't need to watch the game. I know a lot of people are currently watching the game, and I hope you're really enjoying it. I just don't care. Like, if anything, and this is probably going to be a really bad thing to say on the internet, but I kind of hope we lose, because the sooner England get knocked out of the World Cup, the sooner people will stop celebrating our engagement. They'll stop celebrating the fact that we're taking part in the World Cup, and they'll stop drinking. They'll stop going out. They'll stop watching the games. They'll stop collectively gathering outside my house and rioting. And having fights and breaking glasses over each other and smashing my fucking windows. God, I hate the World Cup. I don't like it. Anyway, guys, I believe I have overstayed my welcome. I'm getting really hot. Yeah, it is about the average day, Iggy. You're probably right. But yeah. Anyway, guys, I've had a wonderful day. I'm getting tired. I'm getting a little bit hungry, and and I'm hot as well. So I'm gonna go shower and chill out because I'm sweating now. And I don't mind the heat. I like the heat, but I hate being sweaty. So I am going to go and shower and chill out and enjoy the rest of my birthday. But thank you all so much for being here and spending your Tuesday evening theorizing with me. I hope that you guys have got some thought-provoking things going on in your head. Feel free to leave your comments on any of my videos. Check out some of the things that we talked about. Look back at some of my old theory videos, like the ones we discussed today, the flashlight theory, the dialect theory, things like that, and see how accurate they were. See if there's any links that you can pull in. And yeah, I'd really like to see what you guys think. Next week I'm going to be going live once again, and we're going to be expanding on the community DLC project that we're all working on together. We're going to be doing a little bit more work on that and expanding on that a bit more and starting to dive into the actual storyline and narrative, because now we have a protagonist, we have the enemies they're going to face, and we have an environment with which for them to traverse. All we need now is a story that is able to logically tie them in together, and I'd like to do that with the input of all of you guys, and a lot of it will come down to votes that I'm going to let you guys decide on. And when you guys share your opinions, then we get the majority vote. We'll implicate that into the video, and then we'll all get to enjoy something that we made collectively as a community. But that's going to do it for now. So until next time, that's game over.